And just like I mentioned earlier, now we're turning our attention to aviation, and Nigeria's international air transport sector is booming with an estimated 54,997 weekly seats on offer. Yet, domestic airlines account for just 5,498 seats, that's 9.9%, and 41 weekly frequencies, that's 20.5% out of the 200 operated by 18 international carriers. This imbalance highlights the overwhelming dominance of foreign airlines on key routes. The result, significant capital flight and heavy foreign exchange outflows as the bulk of international ticket revenue sold in Nigeria accrue to foreign carriers. Is there a way out? What can we do? Olumide Ohunayo, Secretary, Aviation Roundtable, joins me for more on this. Thank you so much for joining me today, sir.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning to you too. Now let's talk about why Nigerian flag carriers only account for 9.96% of available seat capacity and 20.5% of total frequencies in the international segment of its air transport.
International segment of its own own segment. Let's put it that way. So we let the message get sink deeper. Because we're looking at flights into Nigeria now, and we are not doing well at all. So let's that message sink deeper that we're talking about flights in and out of Nigeria, and that's the sad reality that we have just 10% of the 9.7% of the passengers and 20% of the flight schedule, and even having 20% of the flight schedule and 9% of the passengers shows that you are still not performing optimally, because now that means you're throwing more seats into the market than available passengers. So that can tell you that the load seat factor, there's about 45 between 45 and 50% of what they are carrying, and shows that profitability is still not on the agenda for the airlines on the international routes. We need to sit down and look inwards and see what we can do. I feel we just can't. There's a need to open up spaces for more airlines. I'm sure if we have more airlines in, then the much talked about merger and strong partnership among the airlines in Nigeria who are fragmented with their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aircraft and maybe 9 airlines. Maybe that will help us. As of today, most of all the airlines are almost not interested in any form of a partnership or merger. So now that the state governments, one or two state governments have started their own airline, I just encourage more investors to come in, and most especially those that can help us on international routes. We cannot do it alone. We need to attract foreign investors who will partner with our airlines to start to give us strong flag carriers that cannot be built to compete with what the other foreign airlines coming in. And then I know it will take time. It's not something that will happen within a year. And that's why I was just looking at the razzmatazz over the recent signing of the Nigerian Brazil route, thinking that after that signing, then it's all glory and all boom, flights will start operating. That would not be the case. So it's the same thing with the international route. You do not rush it. It's a strategic building, a partnership that can make you succeed on the international route, or else you're going to burn funds. Remember that almost all the international funds operations are dominated in dollars. So you need to be very calculative. You need to be very strategic if you don't want to burn out completely.
All right, while you were speaking, you said something. I don't know if that was what you meant. You talked about more seats than passengers. I was wondering if that is the situation. And then when you started talking, I felt like maybe I didn't hear you quite well. Away from that, if you'd like to... Okay, go ahead.
No, look at the statistics. If you have 20% of the seats provided by all the airlines internationally, and you're taking 9.9% of passengers, is that not enough indictment that there's a gap there of about 50%?
Well, absolutely, there's a gap, and that's what the international airlines are probably feeling, and that, of course, is what's what we're talking about today: how to ensure that Nigeria gets even much more from that percentage.
Yes, Nigeria has always worked for it. I always hope to get there, but the numbers are not adding up. The regulations and probably the economy have not made this to work well. And I think it's time to start thinking about how we can attract foreign investors into the Nigerian aviation industry. What we have been seeing so far are just Nigerians themselves, that strong tenacity that we can do it. But I think there's a need to get that critical funds to our partners to come and partner with us so we can have a strong, credible flag carrier to join airpeace on the international route and also help with the domestic market. But like I said earlier on, I still look forward to more airlines coming in, because the greatest problem we have with it right now is the fragmentation of our airline and also the infrastructure at the airport. As of today, none of our international airports has a transit facility. And without a transit facility, how can a Nigerian airline build a hub? It's when you can build a hub, then you can have more flights. You can have more non-Nigerians flying through your airport to their different countries and different other destinations outside Nigeria, and that will increase your number of passengers you carry, increase your number of frequencies, and all those figures you have just rolled out, those embarrassing figures, would also improve. But all this is not just a function of the airline alone. We also have the function of the airport facility, and all the socio-economic activities of the economy. But then, it is not a basket case. Well, they just said that they approved the renovation of the Lagos airport, which will come up which will end in about the next 23 months. I think the same facility should be put up in Abuja. We should have transit facility in Abuja, transit in Kano. And I think that we must have at least 4 of our airports which have transit facilities. It's not rocket science, and I think with that you cannot just thinking about having your airlines carrying passengers going beyond Nigeria. As of today, most of the passengers that we have rolled out from that statistics because on the foreign airlines and even in Nigeria, 85% of those passengers are Nigerians. These are passengers who are for family and friends visiting. So we can get more passengers outside, more non-Nigerians if we are able to build a transit stop, transit facility at the airport. And when you do that, it's a win-win for everybody. The more the passengers, the more activities in the aviation ecosystem, and everybody in the ecosystem, including government agencies who charges and collect taxes, will make more money.
Right. When you talked about partnership, we were specific about international partnerships. I was wondering, when we look at Ethiopia, what Ethiopia provides for us per week is more than what, the identified 3 airlines or 3 Nigerian airlines provide. So I'm wondering, what do we need to learn from Ethiopian Airlines? Is it following this model you call international partnerships, or what exactly stands it out and makes it able to achieve what it is achieving right now?
Right now, we have signed a single air transport market, and that single air transport market, African air transport market, has given African airlines the levity of the power to fly to any airport within the African continent that they have the opportunity of going to, and I think that is what Ethiopian Airlines is leveraging on now, and that's why you see that they're the highest route the highest frequency in a week, which is 27. And then Nigeria should learn from that. Then Nigeria should see if we can. Ethiopian Airlines today is the biggest African airline, is the most profitable and only profitable airline in Africa. With the gone far ahead of us, they took Ethiopian Airlines as a business, not as an arm of government, and did not allow subsidy or government interference, and that had allowed that airline to grow to beyond their own imagination, to their own surprise, and now they are looking at the kind of revenue and what it's bringing to the economy. Now they see more like their oil sector now, and they are taking care of that airline and making it look like that golden egg that must be kept alive. We had a chat with Nigerian that was blown, and I want us to say it's 23 years now since Nigeria was liquidated. We are yet to start a new national carrier. The national carrier have all started. I've always had issue of forced start model, and that has made it fail. But I'm not saying that the government to go and start a national carrier and see how that can develop. All I want is we need flag carriers that can strengthen our position in the international market. As of today, we cannot leave all alone to airports. There's a need to start another flag carrier, and that flag carrier should have a way of coordinating with the domestic airlines they place and see how we can be players in the market. Let me tell you the truth. With this statistics we have on international route, do you know that in Africa we have the highest number of domestic airlines? In Africa, Nigeria has the highest number of domestic airlines in Africa. Yet, this domestic airline does not translate does not translate to one single airline in one of the countries, or one or two countries, or even 3 countries in Africa. I don't want to mention their name. Ethiopia Airlines inclusive. So it shows that we have a model, we have the tendency to strong, but we are not working on the appropriate model for us to be big players, and that is what we should start thinking about.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I mean, I wish I had the time. I would have kept talking about this, but I bet, or I guess there will be another time for this. Thank you so much, Olumide Ohunayo, Secretary of Aviation Roundtable, for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you so much for having me and calling my name properly.
All right, thank you so much.